I am 82 years old, and if there is one thing I wish I could go back and change about my life, it would not be the house I bought, the career I chose, or the money I failed to save. I would change how much of my life I spent trying to make everyone else happy. For most of my life, I thought being available whenever someone needed me, saying yes even when I wanted to say no, keeping quiet when I was hurt, and making sacrifices so other people would never have to feel uncomfortable. I thought that was love. I thought that was kindness. I thought that was what a successful life looked like. But now, sitting here at 82, I have finally understood something. You can spend your entire life making everyone else happy, and still wake up wondering you were never happy yourself.
And I know what it feels like because I lived that life. I learned to say yes too early. I learned how to please people when I was very young. My parents taught me to respect people, to work hard, to help others. Those were good lessons, but somewhere along the way, I turned them into something they were never meant to become. I became afraid of disappointing people. If someone asked me to do something, I said yes. If someone needed help, I dropped what I was doing. If somebody was angry with me, I immediately wondered what I had done wrong. And whenever there was a disagreement, I was usually the one apologizing, even when I knew I had not been the person who caused the problem. At the time, I told myself I was simply being mature.
But looking back, I realize I was often just afraid. Afraid that people would stop loving me, afraid they would think I was selfish, afraid that if I stopped being useful to everyone, I would no longer be important to anyone. That fear quietly followed me into adulthood, and I carried it into almost every decision I made. I showed up when people needed me, I attended events I did not want to attend, accepted invitations I did not have the energy for, helped people who rarely helped me, and stayed in situations. Whenever I had a choice between what I wanted to make someone else happy, I usually chose them. And people praised me for it. They would say, "You are such a good man. We can always count on you." Those words felt wonderful. That is the dangerous thing about people pleasing. Sometimes people reward you for destroying yourself. They call your exhaustion kindness. They call your silence maturity. They call your inability to say no a good heart. And is what it was costing you, I did not costing me until much later. The saddest part is that my people-pleasing did not only affect me, it affected the people I loved most. There were times when my family needed me, but I was busy solving somebody else's problem. There were evenings when I should have been sitting with my children, listening to their stories, but I was somewhere else because I had promised another person that I would help them, while thinking of someone else's expectations. There were family conversations disappointing people outside my home. At the time, I thought I was being generous. But now I understand that sometimes saying yes to everyone else means saying no. You can rebuild a career, you can buy another house, you can start another business, but you cannot go back and sit at the dinner table with your children 10 years old. You cannot return to the afternoon you missed. You cannot recreate the conversation you were too busy to have. Time does not negotiate. And that is why I wish I had understood this much earlier.
I remember sitting alone one evening, looking through old photographs. There were photographs of birthdays, holidays. I looked at the younger version of myself in those pictures. He looked successful. He looked responsible. He looked like a man who had everything under control. But I knew something that nobody else could see. That man was exhausted. He was constantly worried about whatever. He was constantly trying to keep everyone happy. And suddenly I asked myself a question that I had avoided for decades. If I had stopped worrying about disappointing people, I would have spent more time with my family. I would have traveled more. I would have rested without feeling guilty. I would have walked away from. I would have spoken honestly instead of pretending everything was fine. And perhaps most importantly, I would have allowed myself to live a life. If you are watching this and you are still young, please listen carefully. Being kind does not mean saying yes to everything. Loving people does not mean abandoning yourself. And setting boundaries does not make you selfish. There is a difference between helping someone because you genuinely want to help them and helping someone because you are terrified they will dislike you if you refuse. I wish I had known that difference at 25. I wish I had understood that some people will be disappointed with you no matter how hard you try. So stop measuring your worth by how useful you are to other people. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to say, I cannot do that. You are allowed to walk away from relationships that constantly drain you. And you are allowed to choose yourself without hating anyone else. At 82, I regret the dreams I postponed. I regret the conversations I avoided. I regret the opportunities I rejected because I was too concerned about what people would think. And I regret confusing approval with love. The people who truly love you do not need you to destroy yourself to prove that you care about them. The right people will want you to have a life too. And if someone only loves you when you are useful to them, perhaps what they loved was not. That is a difficult lesson, but it is one worth learning while you still have time. I am 82 years old, moments that I cannot relive and choices that I cannot undo. But if you are watching this while you still have decades ahead of you, you have time. So please don't spend all of it trying to become the person everyone else wants you to be. Don't sacrifice every dream just to avoid disappointing someone. Don't spend your entire life being available to everyone while becoming a stranger to yourself. Love people, help people, be generous, be kind. But remember that your life belongs to you too. And when that day comes, I hope you don't have to ask yourself the question that I asked myself: why did I spend so much of my life trying to make everyone? I finally know the answer. I was so afraid of disappointing everyone else that I forgot I was allowed to make myself happy too. You do not need everyone's approval to live a life you can be proud of. Don't wait until you are 82 to learn that. Start today.